Basically, today's topic is these Japanese YouTubers who were comparing Korean cosmetics to Japanese cosmetics.
Be your best, you can do it, be your best. Bio means beauty in Japanese.
Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hello! And if you're coming back, thank you! So first, I want to wish a belated Merry Christmas to everybody. That was a thing that happened. Today, I want to do a little bit of a different video than I usually do, and today I want to tell you guys about some Japanese BeaTea, but it's not about a product, but there's an interesting topic of conversation that's going on. I don't know that this conversation is necessarily going to escape the Japanese side of YouTube, so I wanted to share that with you guys. But before I get into that, let me introduce myself real quick. So, hello again, my name is Laura, and I've been living in Japan for 10 years. This year in May, I passed the Japanese cosmetic license test, and basically what that means is that I studied this in Japanese, and that doesn't mean I'm a medical professional. I'm special, but I'm not a specialist. Kind of, but not really. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not a medical professional is basically what I'm trying to tell you. But definitely consider subscribing if you are interested in learning more about JBeauty. And last thing before we get into today's topic is that, so I do have a YesStyle code. You can find the YesStyle code down here in the description box, and the code is BeauTea. If you don't have any other beauty creator that you want to use their YesStyle code, if you want, feel free to use my code. And what that means basically is that I get a little bit of kickback and you get a little bit of discount on your purchase. Okay, so that's it. Let's get into today's video. Okay, so today's topic is, and I think this is really interesting. I don't know if you could tell. I'm a little excited. Basically, today's topic is these Japanese YouTubers who were comparing Korean cosmetics to Japanese cosmetics. So this all kind of started, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Kazunosuke, my boy, I'm always talking about this man in my videos, but essentially he came out with this video that compared Japanese JBeauty cosmetics to Korean cosmetics, and he compared a bunch of different points. So basically he compared how they look on the outside, the kind of different specs and features that they have, technology, blah blah blah, and he just talked about this in his video. And one of the things that he said in his video was that essentially the Japanese government regulations with regards to cosmetic make it so that even if some JBeauty products have a really interesting technology or something, they can't really say it. And so that is essentially those regulations are essentially to protect us as consumers, because if this product is like, oh, this gonna fix your face, then I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to buy that. And then if their face doesn't get fixed, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with your face. Your face is beautiful. You're beautiful as you are. But there are people who will probably purchase that product because it has that written on there. So in order to keep, manufacturers and stuff from making claims like this, they regulate the things that are able to be said. So for example, some of the things, one thing that I bring up a lot on this channel is iyakubugaehin, or these quasi drugs. And so they are highly regulated. And so for example, there are like 52 phrases. Hold on, let me see if I can find the book. This is the book that I used when I was studying for the Japanese cosmetic license test. This is the higher of the two levels. And so here at the end, it gives you, so there's a list of like 56 different things, and the products, they can say on the box of the product that this product can do this thing, but it can't say that it can't advertise the product doing something other than what's written here. And again, this is supposed to be to protect us as consumers. But as I've mentioned in other videos, sometimes there are really interesting features that products have, like the video that I covered recently, the Elixiru, how it says that it helps with aging care by helping the kiteimaku, or the basement layer, but they can't put that on the box. They can't be like, hey, this helps with anti-aging, and they can't even use the word anti-aging. Like, they have to be like, it's like appropriate care for your age or something. And so yeah, like they're just really highly regulated, and it causes them to essentially like kind of do a lot of workarounds. So this product here that I introduced in a couple of videos ago, it's actually marketed as a skin brightening product because the main ingredient is toranekisamusan, or tranexamic acid, but its actual main feature is supposed to be anti-aging because it helps work on that basement layer, which helps to, I think it was like, there was like a guy that sends commands to the fibroblast. Yeah, there's something that would induce like fibroblast. I don't know. I won't put an insert here of that video because I don't remember what I said a couple videos ago. So in addition to that, the basement layer also be telling apparently the dermis what to do. Basement layer dude over here be like, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And so the dermis is the second layer of our face, essentially where most of the collagen and elastin can be found. And remember, the dude in the basement layer, he sends this command in the form of growth factor called PDGFBB. And then this causes fibroblasts to produce collagen and elastin, which helps increase the firminess and the bounciness of the skin. But yeah, essentially this product is supposed to help with anti-aging, but because of Japanese regulations, they can't say things like that. And so there's a lot of things that these Japanese products aren't able to tell you. So unless you're like actively seeking out that information, even Japanese, when not just people who live overseas, but even Japanese people, unless they're actively seeking out that information and looking at like the consumers, what is it called, the manufacturer's webpage that talk about the research that they do, you might not know what it is that's in that product that makes it amazing. So basically, he said that in this video, and he was like, yeah, like, so Korean products have a lot of really interesting technology. This is true, but Japanese products also have a lot of really interesting technology. It's just that we can't talk about it because of the regulations. And I was like, okay, I see you. But then what was really interesting and what made me want to make this video, because I want to jump into the drama, is because this other doctor who I'm always talking about, well, the first one is a cosmetic chemist, but she's a doctor. But yeah, she also has a YouTube channel. Her name is Tomori Arata sensei. And so she brought up his video, Kazunosuke's video. She was like, yeah, like I agree that like Korean cosmetics, they have a lot of really interesting and cool things that they come out with. But JBeauty, we also have a lot of really cool, interesting things too. But our hands are tied by these regulations that are kind of holding us back. And we want the world to know more about JBeauty and how like it has all these really cool, interesting things. But we can't because our hands are tied by these regulations. And so then I was like, dang, that's really interesting. And another thing that they said that was really interesting, and Kazunosuke I think mentioned this in his video too, was that so apparently there is kind of like a motion in the ocean. I don't know how to describe it, but from what I understood is that the government is helping K-beauty companies to market and I guess to produce and get their products out there to the world. They essentially want to go after world domination is basically what it sounds like. And the government is helping to fund this. Therefore, they get assistance in like, I don't know exactly in details what it is that it is. Maybe it's like in research or maybe it's in like marketing the product. I don't know exactly what it is, but they are getting some kind of funding. And then they're like, well, but you know, Japan isn't really doing this. So it's kind of hard for like us to like, you know, like compare. So like you have like JBeauty that has this really amazing technology, but we don't have like government backing, and you know, we're just kind of here and people might think that like K-beauty is superior to JBeauty. And they're not saying, you know, they're like not outwardly saying like, oh, like JBeauty is superior, but kind of, you know, that's kind of a little bit, I'm not saying that that's what they're saying. I'm not saying that that's what they're saying, you know, but it's just a really interesting debate to listen to as someone who is not Japanese, but I have an understanding of like, okay, these things going on in the industry. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting about the K-beauty industry because I didn't know about that until I had learned that from Kazunosuke's video. And then Tomori Arata sensei, she also picked that up and I was like, dang, okay. My personal view on it, so I feel like this is the points that I'm presenting. I honestly think this is a really interesting kind of back and forth because there's no like definite conclusion almost, it feels, because yes, you do have the fact that okay, the government is funding these K-beauty things, and then another thing that they really, you know, push is like, yeah, Japanese cosmetics are really like have a really high standard of safety, and so, and because it has such a high standard of safety, that's why they have these like really kind of strict regulations. So they kind of go hand in hand, but also like because we have these high regulations, then we're not able to get the recognition that we deserve, kind of is a little bit of the vibes of what it is that they're saying. I think it's really interesting. I still think that JBeauty has a lot of really interesting technology, and as someone who is talking to telling people about JBeauty, I do think that there is a lot. I think that yes, a lot of that is involved, but I also think that a lot of it comes down to the fact that I feel like maybe because of the government backing that the K-beauty industry is getting, and they're getting some kind of money, they're able to invest more money in like translation services or to get products already in English. So yeah, if your aim is to go after the global market, making things in English would make it just more easily accessible to people. So if Japanese corporations are not necessarily doing that because they don't have the money to do it, then I guess like I would feel like, oh well, I feel kind of bad for you guys. But if you guys are just not doing it because you don't think that there's interest, or you're not trying to do it, then I'm like, from my personal point of view, I'm like, well, you guys just aren't doing that. Like, at least they're trying, whether they have the backing or not, they're trying, but you guys aren't even trying to put stuff in English. That's why I'm here trying to tell people about it. So I just think it's a really, really interesting like back and forth. And my personal view is, yes, I do think that K-beauty has a lot of really interesting and innovative products that they come out with all the time, and the way that they advertise it, I have noticed, is different. Because for example, like with, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a before and after for a JBeauty product, because they can't do that legally. They're not allowed to do that, but you see that all the time in K-beauty. Even if we go to like Qten, which is a popular e-commerce site that you can use to purchase products in Japan for like mostly for K-beauty products, but you can also buy non-K-beauty products as well. But yeah, like you'll see the before and after. They use these like clinical trials, like for example, clinical trial results, or sometimes they'll go do skin scans like of BeaTea, things like that, and then they'll use those as the before and after, like before this product was used and then X amount of weeks or X amount of days after the skin improved in this manner. Japan is not allowed to do that, so obviously that kind of affects consumer behavior, because here I have proof according to like what this company is putting out. Japan's not able to do that. But it's really interesting because I saw years ago that someone on Twitter put that, for example, a company, I'm not going to say the name of the company because defamation laws in Japan are absolutely ridiculous. And even facts, like I remember there's this lady who I follow, her name is BeaTea Investigates, and she always says facts do not equal defamation. But in Japan, they kind of do. So I'm not going to say the name of the company. I'm just going to say they're a company with a lot of money. They have they're one of the more prestigious companies in Japan, and they also have an outside branch. Look, you know what? Probably no one's gonna ever watch this video. Am I gonna get sued? I really don't want to get sued. Anyway, so they also have a really strong presence. I'm just gonna say that their products cost a lot of money, and they are very famous for fermented based products. That's what I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. And so if you look at the pages of that company that's marketed outside of Japan, they can use before and after images. But in Japan, you can't use that. So it's just, a difference in the regulation. But I think that that's really interesting. All of this to say, I just think that's a very interesting topic. I just wanted to share that with you guys. One of my goals, now completely terrible, no segue. One of my goals for 2025 is to make more kind of just these talkative videos where I don't do so much editing. I really want to get information out there for you guys. It's really interesting because one of my goals is to give you the information in order for you to make a decision on whether you want to buy a product or not. So I want you to be informed and be like, well, what does this product have and what are the features and stuff like that. And so I want to give you that information so that you can make that decision. But when it comes to my videos, I feel like I'm the ultimate judge on that. And I mean, yeah, like that's kind of the case, right? But a lot of times I don't make videos because I'm like, no, this is a waste of people's time. But I should let you decide that, whether you should want to watch that or not. So that's one of my goals going into next year, making more kind of casual, relaxed content like this, where I'm not doing highly edited stuff. But I obviously still want to do the ultimate JBeauty guide series. I want to tell you guys so much about all of this knowledge that I have in my head. I want to share it, and hopefully it will help you be your best. That legitimately is my goal. I just want you to go into purchasing things with an informed decision. Yeah. So yeah, like this is, I feel like もう全くまとまってない動画の内容かと思いますが、yes, thank you so much for just all of your support in 2024, and hopefully I will be my best in 2025. Also the tours, which I had not mentioned for a while because I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? I am thinking of starting them up again in 2025. I will make that announcement in the beginning of the video when I am ready to launch that again. And yes, that's it for this year. Maybe I'll put out another video if I'm trying to be more vulnerable. I hate that. I really do. I hate vulnerability. But if I can muster up the courage to make another type of video just telling you guys about really interesting stuff that I think is really interesting, then hopefully I will be able to share that with you. But if not, then I will see you guys next year. As always, I hope you have a good day. And remember, God bless me, your best.